Right now, someone is talking to you. You can hear them clearly. They have opinions about what you just did 5 minutes ago. They have a warning about what you're about to do next. You didn't invite them. You can't turn them off. And the strangest part is this. You've been listening to them your entire life, and you still don't know exactly who they are. That voice in your head, the one narrating this sentence right now, it genuinely feels most obviously you thing about you. But the real answer is far stranger. Your inner voice isn't a single, stable narrator. It's something you built, piece by piece, out of other people's voices. And once you understand where it actually came from, you'll never hear it the same way again. Start with a baby. A baby doesn't have an inner voice. A baby has your voice. Your mother's voice, your father's voice, whoever raised you, saying things out loud, over and over. Be careful. Not yet. Almost there. That language existed entirely outside the baby's head first. It lived in the air between two people. A Soviet psychologist named Lev Vygotsky noticed something odd about toddlers in the 1920s and 30s. Watch a 3-year-old solve a puzzle, and they'll often talk through it out loud, to no one. Where does this piece go? Not there. Try here. Adults call it cute. Vygotsky called it something else. He called it thinking, caught in the act, before it had learned to go quiet. His theory was simple, and it rewired how psychologists understood the mind. Speech starts as a social tool between two people. Slowly, the child folds that same tool inward. The out-loud narration doesn't disappear. It shrinks. It compresses. It moves behind the eyes. By adulthood, you're still doing exactly what that 3-year-old was doing. You've just gotten quiet about it. So the voice in your head isn't something you were born with. It's a conversation you used to have with other people, replayed in private, for the rest of your life. Does that change how it feels to hear it? Here's where it gets stranger. Your inner voice doesn't talk like a novel. It talks in fragments. Half sentences. Compressed shorthand only you would understand. A researcher named Charles Fernyhough, who spent years studying what he calls inner speech, found that most people's internal monologue is nothing like the smooth, grammatically perfect sentences you'd read in a book. It's clipped. It's weird. It skips words a stranger wouldn't be able to follow. That makes sense once you think about who it's talking to. It's not performing for an audience. It already knows what you mean. It's you, talking to you, using a private shorthand built from a lifetime of shared context. No one else could read that transcript. Only you. But here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Not everyone has this voice the same way. A psychologist named Russell Hurlburt spent decades running an unusual kind of study. He'd give people a small beeper. It would go off at random points during the day. The moment it beeped, they had to freeze and report exactly what was happening in their mind, right then, before it could shift or fade. What he found broke the assumption almost everyone walks around with. Not everyone narrates their thoughts in words. Some people think in pure feeling, with no language attached at all. Some think almost entirely in images. Some have a constant verbal stream running non-stop, like a radio that never turns off. For decades, people assumed their own experience was universal. It isn't. You've been assuming everyone hears what you hear. They don't. So what is your inner voice actually for? It's not just idle chatter. It's doing real work. It rehearses what you're about to say before you say it. It replays what already happened, looking for what it means. It runs simulations of arguments you haven't had yet. In a very real sense, before you can catch yourself doing something risky, that voice has often already tried to talk you out of it. Which is why it matters enormously how that voice talks to you. A psychologist named Ethan Kross ran a series of experiments on something deceptively small. He had people talk to themselves under stress, using either I or their own first name. I can get through this, versus, Sarah, you can get through this. That's it. That's the whole difference. The results weren't small. People who used their own name, talking to themselves like a coach would talk to someone else, performed better under pressure. Their heart rate calmed faster. Their anxiety dropped. They recovered from failure quicker. A tiny shift in pronoun turned the same inner voice from a source of pressure into a source of support. The voice didn't change. The distance did. That's the twist hiding underneath all of this. The voice in your head was never really just you, alone in a room. It was built from other people, in a Vygotskian childhood full of out-loud instruction. It runs on private shorthand, the way Ferneyhough describes. It isn't universal, the way Hurlburt proved. And depending on how you address it, Cross showed it can either flatten you or lift you back up. Think about what that means for the worst nights you've had. The ones where the voice wouldn't stop. Replaying the mistake. Rehearsing the argument you should have won. That wasn't some flaw in your character. That was a tool, doing exactly what it evolved to do, just running without an off switch. The same mechanism that lets a toddler talk themselves through a puzzle can, in an adult, turn into a loop that won't release you. And maybe that's the real reframe here. You didn't invent that voice alone. You built it out of every person who ever spoke to you as a child, compressed and folded inward until it felt like it belonged to no one but you. It has been narrating your life since before you could form real memories. It has never once, not for a single second, left you completely alone with your own thoughts. So the next time it starts up, warning you, narrating you, arguing with you at 2 in the morning, remember what it actually is. Not an intruder, not a flaw. A childhood conversation that never technically ended. It just moved inside. Right now, someone is still talking to you. You can still hear them clearly. But maybe, for the first time, you know exactly who they are. They're not a stranger living in your skull. They're every voice that ever raised you, still speaking, still trying to help, in a language only you were ever taught to understand.